I'm going to keep that in. That's not being edited out. Hey guys, Mike here from Sell Your Service. I'm very happy to be joined by Kim Doyal and Jodi Hersh from a variety of things, but we're actually here to talk about the content planner, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, awesome. So just for a quick brief introduction, Kim first maybe, then Jodi, who are you guys? What do you do? What's the content planner?
Long and short of it, I'm a digital marketer. My focus is content marketing. I am formerly known as the WordPress chick. So I understand a lot of what you guys do and what you're going through. I pivoted earlier this year to my personal brand and have just fallen in love with all things content for the long and short of it, right? Awesome. And I'm about to put a physical planner out into the world.
Very cool. And Jodi?
And so I'm Jodi Hersh, and for the last 25 years, I've been Orange Star Design. So I got started as a graphic designer, and fast forward, I now help people with full-on branding and online presences and marketing strategy. And I'm really excited to be partnering with Kim on the content planner.
Yeah, and this has kind of come about quite interestingly because it wasn't necessarily something that I don't know how long has this been in the works, because there's the Kickstarter at the moment, which is what I really want to talk about. But how long has the content planner been in your mind, Kim?
Okay, well, the planner itself, like I had this idea earlier this year, and I had been collaborating on a SaaS, which took a year and a half. It opened and shut very quickly. Right. The developer didn't want to do it. So, at the same time, I had been focusing on content marketing, and it's, there's a lot of online scheduling tools. There's a lot of sort of mind mapping and whatnot, but it just, let me back up. My frustration with content, guys, is it's like, I can produce it quickly, but it's not always meeting my business goals. And that's where, I jokingly have this everything is content, and I'm really kind of pivoting to everything is content that's contextual, right? Sure. Meaning I can share little stupid Kim snippets all day long on Instagram stories so people get to know my personality, but that doesn't necessarily drive my business other than people that like Kim, right? Sure. And it really became a pain point for me. And so I had this idea for a planner because I started doing bullet journaling earlier this year. Well, I should say I tried. Yep. It's a little too structured for me. But in the meantime, I fell in love with pen and paper again. Like I was the kid who spent hours drawing in my room. I owned a scrapbook store, like all the things. And I stepped back and I was using legal pads or whiteboarding, and always the pen and paper, the textual where I'm writing stuff out. So I had this idea and I thought, okay, put that 2019. You can do that next year. Long story short, I was like, it kind of grabbed a hold of me. I'd kind of mentioned it to someone else and started thinking maybe I'll do this. And after the learning experience of the SaaS collaboration, I'm like, I just cut the losses really quickly. And then I'm like, what the bucket? Jodi is a designer. And we've been friends online for 5 years. And Jodi, you want to tell the story of how I connected with you? And you guys, this was August about the planner.
Yeah, so the month of August, I had this unusual opportunity where I was on a cruise through the British Isles with a client. I was shooting marketing videos for her. Of course you were.
Sure.
Yeah, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So it's about 1:30 in the morning my time, and I don't know why I was even awake, but Kim popped up on Facebook Messenger and asked me if I know InDesign. I'm like, well, duh. Yeah, I have to use it every day. Why do you ask? And I just thought I was going to make a video to show her how to do something. But she told me the idea of the content planner, and I'm like, sure, I'll help you with that. And then she asked, well, do I need to pay you or do you want to partner with me? I'm like, oh no, they'll partner with you, of course. And I think I got back to the home in the States around August 20th or so. And by August 27th, she had already sent me some sketches of what she was picturing, and I had already designed it and sent it back to her within a week. And we've pretty much done everything that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it has been an incredibly fast turnaround. I remember, you kind of showing us some early concept work, Kim, and going through it, and we had a couple of calls about metrics, but ultimately it is a physical book, a pen and paper book for planning out vast quantities of content with the aim of making sure that it does something productive, whatever that might be that you require for your business, right? It's almost like a physical, big old workbook that you can run through and then keep. Is that how you guys would summarize that?
You summarized it fabulously.
There you go. It's because I've been using it. That's why. It's because I've been buried deep in it. And Jodi, we were talking a bit about this before the call. The jump to go back to physical print and physical media. I agree. I write a lot of things out by hand. I've got whiteboards all around me. How was that to make the conversion over from the content being digital, but actually a lot of the strategy and planning and forward thinking being done like pen and paper? Did you have to change how you were thinking about that?
I don't know that I had to change how I was thinking about it, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense to do it that way. Because when we use digital tools, we're just clickety click and, filling in all the blanks and not always really thinking things through. And most of the tools that exist out there are really more for scheduling or coming up with the greatest headline ever, or silly things like that. And it's all like pieces of the puzzle. I don't really think scheduling our content has ever been the problem. I mean, it's certainly time consuming, but I think the problem is creating content that, somehow is related to a business goal. So, wherever they're at in the funnel, this piece of content might not be specifically for a sale, but if it's not somehow related to the sale, I mean,
what's it doing there?
What are you doing it for?
Yeah.
So I think when we slow down and use a pen and paper, it's forcing us to think more, because you don't just fill in junk. You're going to actually think it through.
That's a really interesting way. I mean, and Kim, you and I, again, have talked about this, and in the groups that we're a part of, everyone wants to create content. Everyone knows that it's good for them and it's good for their business. But there are two or three things kind of always in their way. How does the planner address, what prevents people from creating content?
Well, because there's a brain dumping sort of, we've got this strategy and we want people to start with the end goal. And, it has been really fascinating creating the planner, Mike, because I also have stepped back and this is what's made me rethink how I do things. Cause like I said, I can create content, I can write, I can throw it out there, but I'm like, you're wasting your time and you're not. And it might be entertaining, mind you. It's never super self-serving, but it's not necessarily helping my bottom line. And so we want people to start with the end goal of how does this support my business? And so, in looking at that, it's really made me rethink that. So people should be thinking this whole be seen everywhere all the time. There's so much out there that if you're going to focus on what's my end business goal, ideally, right, that's related to serving your audience and customers the best. So if you step back, all of a sudden, it's a lot easier to go, oh, I can produce 3 really amazing pieces of content. And now how can I promote it? Which is really the piece, right? It's like having the content, and there are things that happen regularly, like, so maybe you're a podcaster, so that's consistent. But the rest of it, for me, and it, like even filling it in on the calendar and going, okay, well, how would I take this post that I'm planning, to do some ultimate guide on or something? How do I take that? And I'm going into writing the post with the micro content that I can pull out of it as well. That is going to be valuable, not just like, the headline, the image, and you just keep resharing it for a year or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the biggest kind of takeaway that I've seen with the planner is these overall longer, big term strategies like 2019 or 2020, our message is going to be blank, earn $100,000 or create a 6-figure business or whatever it is. Okay, we're going to break that into quarters, and then we're going to break that into months and then weeks and then content type. But it's continuing to break that down into steps where you think, well, I now know what I need to go through to begin continuing like that longer term journey. It's like looking to the top of the staircase, but thinking, okay, but the first step is here. And I think sometimes there's a big disconnect between what it is that we want to do right now and sit down and just start typing and writing or recording or whatever it is, compared to our longer term, like yearly goal. I think there's a huge disconnect there. And I think, the planner, this content planner, I've started calling it the content planner. As far as I'm concerned, there is no other content planner out there. So
that name was taken, but otherwise it would be.
Right. So it helps people bridge that gap between the practical side of content creation all the way through to their longer term, vision for where it is that they want to go.
Yeah. And, and the piece of it, again, like I was saying, it's easy to, you sit down, it's like, all right, I haven't published a post. What can I write about, sort of thing, right?
Yep.
And this way, and I wanted to add too that it's a quarterly, or I should say 90 days,
Yep.
because it's not dated. But, in stepping back, so where you were saying, okay, for 2019, this is my end goal. At the same time, I don't believe that I can create or plan my content in January of 2019 for November of 2019. I don't know. I want to see what's working. I want to see what's working for my audience, what's converting, what has made me money. So in that case, I don't know, it's a 90-day sprint where you can step back, and it's just staying focused, to be honest with you. It's like, well, I already planned this out. Where am I at with this post?
Yep.
Have I promoted this more frequently? Because how many times do we hit publish and forget to go back and promote it more?
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed has happened for me since I've started using it, of course, we don't have physical planners yet. We're like printing out pages, and stapling them and binder clipping them together. But the simple act of having this one planner where I make notes and put my ideas down, and it's all in that one book. I mean, it seems so silly that it took that for me to get more organized, because we all have ideas all the time. Sometimes I put them in Trello, sometimes they're in a Google Doc, sometimes they're in Evernote, sometimes it's a note on my phone, or I email it to myself.
Yep.
And then
I have so many emails from myself.
I'm like, I don't know where I put it. And then I spend 45 minutes looking for it. And then, by the time I've done that, I'm distracted by whatever I just found in Trello that had nothing to do with the task at hand.
Yep.
So I think just having this one place where you actually do that work has value that I didn't expect.
Well, there's a reason that the big kind of strategy guys, who go into FTSE and NASDAQ companies with their directors and their leadership team, still use physical workbooks to go through it. The act of committing something with pen and paper, it does something more concrete than typing it up. For us, it's Quip. And I'm like, yeah, but I keep everything in Quip. I don't know which folder. I don't know which I don't know which document. Like I'm going through and I'm like, I must have thought the hierarchy was like this. But having the physical plans and the strategies that have always worked for us in the past have always been ones that we've written out on paper. The high level, when we're thinking like, we need to change the direction of this entire telco company, we have to write it out. It can't all be done digitally. It can be executed with digital. But this is kind of something that we've been talking about recently, is the content execution is digital, but the strategy and the thought and the vision, that's still human. So there has to be an element of physically getting it out on paper, and I think it bridges that gap.
It gets me excited too, as I start doing that, right? Like, oh, okay. And then like my hands can't keep up with the writing in a way. Yeah. But the other thing, and it's been fascinating as we have like beta users using it, is to get the feedback, because you may plan this out. And then if you can look back and say, we actually didn't get that published, or how did we never hit that? Or realizing, one thing, I'm on LinkedIn, I've got a presence there. Ask me the last time I actually went in and published something besides pushing content there. And so if I'm planning it out and being strategic about it, one, I'm way less likely to miss it, but it's just being able to then say, okay, I can take this into next month, because why did I think that was a good idea?
Yep. So is there any chance we could get a sneak peek at the content? I'd love you to take us through maybe, I don't know, some of your favorite pages or whatever, because this is available now at the moment on Kickstarter. It's still available as time of publishing. I think it's got a few weeks left. I'll make sure to put the link in the description down below.
And I do want to say, I'm going to go ahead and add this right now, Mike. Yeah. One thing that we have just added recently that somebody requested, and I can pull the page up, is it's a great agency gift for clients also. So what we've done is there's different bundles, and agencies can gift this to their clients, and we've created a custom landing page. And we've got an animated GIF, and I'll show you the page in a minute, but where you can then send the email to your clients and say you've been gifted this, and then on the page they'll go to, they give us their name, their email, and who gifted it. And the reason we're asking, we're not trying to pilfer your customers, but the name and the email is we have a masterclass that they get as part of the Kickstarter. So then they'll get a content masterclass. So they'll get the PDF right away, and then we will ship it for you, or we can ship them all to you. So it is a great agency gift as well. So basically we're trying to help you help your customers, but maybe we can pull the content headache away for you.
Very good. Yeah, and that's worth talking about. Like, there is your whole ecosystem, and Jodi, I've seen you in the group as well, kind of talking through some of these points. This is not just the planner. This is also the educational material and the support and the community behind the process of getting more content and better quality and higher converting content out to your marketplace.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's like if your audience doesn't like what you're giving them, bye audience.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to scroll through a couple. I don't want to dig super deep, but what I want to show you, and some of this, just FYI guys, some of the orders might be changing, and we've already thought a little bit deeper. We're going to be adding, we think, a couple spreads so that there's a little bit more space to map content out. But the plan is, like, creating the campaign will actually come first. Then you map your content. We've got the statistics. Thank you, Mike. And I don't know if your ears have been burning, Mike, but every live stream we've done, we thank Mike Killen for helping us drill down.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
You're welcome. Then we have a monthly calendar and the weekly calendar. So please bear with me with the scrolling, guys. What we've also included, what you're looking at here on the right-hand side under mapping your content strategy, is we've included a fictitious business called the Ultimate Day Spa and Salon. And so you can drill down from the content goal into the content types, the micro content, all of this, and follow the pattern and going into the calendar, right? So you can see in the example, and we're probably changing some of this so that it's not always necessarily, you don't necessarily have to be writing cornerstone content all the time.
Sure.
But so for the goal of the spa, it's leads. They need new customers, right? And it's a very ambiguous goal. You can go, we want 2,000 new subscribers, however you want to do it, right? And the content that the spa is going to create to support that would be blog posts, a live stream, and a video. And then from there, we've broken down to, and I won't read all the micro content, but the health benefits of massage. Maybe that's a listicle post. Choosing a hairdresser, how to decide what facial you need, right? So you see this. So you go through, and then we've planned out micro content from each of those. Instagram, what are the things that we're going to do? Facebook, how can I do this? YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter. So this is just all in the case of the spa, right? And then you jump into the monthly and weekly content calendars. And the purpose of the monthly, this is how I've approached it. And it's going to be fun, as we've been talking about this, it's going to be really interesting to see how people interpret and use it themselves.
Yep.
That's the beauty of this.
Yep.
But the monthly calendar, I look at this really is sort of what is the overall business goals, dollar goals, right? That's going to help us attain that. And then you drill down weekly to the more specific content. So in the case of the spa, the different topics kind of that I've focused on, gift certificates and open house, massages, hair services, right? The campaigns, which I'm in talking with you, Mike, we've got campaigns and funnels that we're tracking.
Yep.
So with the goal for the spa, again, I don't want to drill down and read every piece of this for you guys, but the goal with this, right, being leads. So where you see this new customer offer, right, circled, that piece is that we offer, it's a lead generation thing. We're offering a discount on services to new customers. So it's just making sure that that is the primary focus that day. Do we have content going out that supports that? Maybe this day we're doing a gift certificate post that's going to help us with one of our campaigns. This is a skincare line that we have on sale, blah, blah, blah. So you see that, blah, 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 my technical speech. Yeah. The bottom of the monthly content calendar, we have a promotions box, active funnels, and sales goals. So you're going to go ahead and put that in specifically. Maybe you've got paid campaigns that you're running. Which funnels do you have that are in the background working for you? So you can come in and fill that in, and it's going to change monthly, right? The weekly calendar, tell me if I'm going too fast. I just don't want to.
This is good. No, I'm
okay.
Keeping up.
And Jodi, please jump in if I'm talking like a nut.
No, you're good.
So the weekly content calendar, this thought starter column, we've thought a lot about this. We had some more specific things, and this is more like notes to yourself in terms of making sure your content works. So in this case, engagement is a big one. Are we engaging with the content we're promoting? So if somebody's left a like, or have we asked them, what did you like about that? Or what's your favorite Aveda hair care product, or whatever the thing is, right? This one, I had to remind myself what I meant with this. So the either or slider in a story. So on Instagram, do you like this or this? So making sure, are we getting those engaging story the interactive content with Instagram.
Yep.
These are the product lines we're focusing on. Oh, by the way, should we ask for customer testimonials? Oh, and this is just a note. Update the hashtags for Instagram so that we can research what's trending in our space.
Or has tags, as I see we have a typo right there.
Or
Hey,
hashtags.
there you go.
The hashtags that used to be.
Hashtags, yeah. That's definitely going to be coined. Hashtags.
Hashtags. Oh, that used to work.
Yeah.
And then we've set it so each day that we've got a goal at the top of the day. And originally we were thinking, what are you doing today to make the sale?
Yep.
But maybe it's a lead or something. We want you to look at your content that day. How is it helping you to reach your goal?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is just dummy stuff, but right? So, okay, I want to make sure we get 10 new subscribers today. Monday, we want to sell 3 gift certificates. Tuesday, let's sell 25 units of the Aveda skincare. And so from your goal, drill down.
I see. Yeah.
Right? And what are you doing to support that? And so the first column here, we've got blog, and this is pretty tiny. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this better. Okay. So you've got outline, draft, edit, publish, right? So maybe you've got a team, or it's you're working on it. Because the other piece of this too is, let's say you've got a blog post in here and it's in draft. It's like, finish the post.
Yeah.
So, and then for email, whether or not you do daily emails, but it is a good reminder, because all of a sudden, if you've got a full week and you have no email campaigns planned out, what are you doing there?
Yep.
And then the social channels, we've set this up so that, and we've just drilled down. We left the bottom 2 blank, but where you can you just circle the platform and then you're going to write down. So in this case, on a Sunday, let's repurpose the video for the new customer offer. Let's make sure we've shared a link to the last article. Oh, don't forget, here's your gift certificate reminder.
Yep.
Gift certificate reminder. So that's what we've done, right? And this is all micro content that we've drilled down for the weekly calendar.
Yep.
One thing, and I'd love your thoughts on this, Mike, that we've had some requests for with this is, and I think they said end of the month, maybe, right, Jodi? I don't remember, but could they have a place, which we have plenty of space for you to just drop notes and whatnot, but a space where you come over and you make a list of what you did publish. You've got a list of what you didn't publish, because they don't want to go through the calendar and cross stuff out.
Yeah.
So we're toying with that idea as well.
Yeah. And it's funny you should mention that. So the big thing that we've been using this planner for, and we've been testing it out. I'm going to have to break this down. First of all, we've taken some of the stuff that we've created in the planner and we've used that to hire content creators. So we've used that as a brief, as a plan to say, this is our strategy. This is where we want to go. What can you guys do in terms of the social? The second thing that it's allowed us to do is start bulk creating content over a period of 2 days that we know is going to go out over the quarter or the month. And by getting it out like this, that's what it's helped us do. The way that I produce content now is on the day. If I'm publishing something today, I'll create it on the day. And I produce an enormous amount of content, where at least either a video or a blog post or something per day. The way that we've restructured that and we have begun bulk scheduling stuff and bulk creating stuff has taken a huge amount of pressure off. It means our days are more productive, but it's only through having it written down and getting that high level overview. So in terms of what we have created and what we haven't created, I agree, super useful. And it'd be interesting to see the difference between people who bulk create off the back of this and people who do it on the day. Because I know that all around me, I've written like blog post ideas and I'll come back to them like, man, I must have written that at like 2 a.m. because I have absolutely no idea what
I meant.
Exactly.
Whereas tying it back to a higher strategy, it's like, oh yeah, ultimately the goal is to help people, in my case, sell marketing funnels.
Well, that's good to know then, because it's one of those things that we, of course, thought, okay, well, and you'll see we've got all this note space, but there is, again, that element of rewriting something. And if people want to be told, sometimes you want to be told, what am I doing today? Which is the purpose of this planner, right?
Yep.
So that's a huge piece of this. At the bottom of the weekly calendar, we've included the 3 primary checklists: blog post optimization, podcast, video, and then there's a notes. And then we're going to go ahead. I'll jump in and show you the checklist in this. And, one thing I want to say about this is that I hope people don't look at this and think, oh my gosh, I'm doing like 2 posts a month. This is so overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Because I get it. But I like the idea of looking and going, all right, well, I'm going to do 2 or 3 things super, super well and promote the bucket out of them now. I'm really flipping that. My everything is content, like I said, is more contextual and connection.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that's hopefully this will help people do is it's that awareness piece. Maybe you haven't touched it, and that's okay. There's zero judgment, but you're going to look at this and it's going to remind you that you need to be content marketing. Content marketing is marketing. So don't get overwhelmed. It's just a matter of making sure you're looking at this and increasing it, right? And measuring.
Hey, before we look at the checklist, can we show them the blank spreads for the monthly and the weekly so they can see what it looks like without somebody else's stuff in there?
Absolutely. So here is the blank for the monthly campaign and the content strategy map. And then we've got the monthly content calendar here. Hopefully everybody can see that okay.
Yep, that's good. Looking good. Okay.
And here is the weekly content calendar.
So for someone who, isn't blogging, every day of the week and isn't on 4 or 5 different social channels, you can see that this is just really intended to be flexible. So it would work for somebody who is doing daily stuff, and it would also work for somebody who's really just getting started with this.
Yeah. And this is, again, kind of comes back to our earlier point. A huge problem with the content is the disconnect between that bigger overall vision for what you want to be known for and the audience you want to attract, the more ethereal stuff, compared to what are the nuts or bolts that you would need to get in. Because we had a content planner for the first book, From Single to Scale, and it was actually just the 6 kind of bullet points that I was going to write out for the day. I wasn't publishing anything. If anything, it was only one piece of content, but it still allowed me to kind of say, okay, I am bit by bit checking this off. I'm getting through this. We're working through it. And it is that consistency and kind of doing it regularly. That's actually what's more important, rather than those kind of classic spurts of doing 3 blog posts one week and then nothing for a month and then 2 and then nothing, so this to me helps combat that. Just while we're on that, what would you say to someone who says, well, I haven't really created content yet? What if I haven't written a blog post before, or what if I haven't created a video before?
I'll jump in. You want to go though, Jodi? What are your thoughts?
All I was going to say is how fortunate for them that when they do their first post, there'll actually be a strategy behind it, as opposed to the rest of us who, have been throwing spaghetti at the wall for years before we got strategic.
My thoughts on that, first of all, is it's weird. I don't know what it is about this space, but there's something I feel about digital marketing and online business in general that we have this idea that it's just supposed to be easy or something, right? I mean, how many hours did it take you to learn to drive a car?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know. So you have to practice, bottom line. And the truth is, it would be so awesome if we hit publish and the fireworks went off, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so what I like to think of is, one is when I started looking at content marketing, I knew that I didn't want to, I'm not a content marketing institute. I'm not this, I have to pull my personality and I have to feel that energy there with me, right? So if someone feels like I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, I would take a little bit of time, don't go down a crazy rabbit hole, and look at what has resonated with your audience. Like, go read stuff and even simply say, oh, okay, well, here, Mike, you do so much content, right? Like, here's a great example, Mike. And I would, 12 ways sideways, I think this could work for most markets. So we had an incident recently with somebody we knew. She was on an email list, and the person who she was subscribing to, this woman's email list, decided out of the blue that she would pick 3 of her email subscribers and do website reviews and publish them. It was horrific. I've never seen something done in such poor taste.
Yeah.
And it was like, haha, well, you subscribe to my list. I mean, I can't imagine the damage that woman's done to her own business, truthfully. But Mike, you did a great video around.
That video was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
it was really fantastic because, one, it was direct. You were diplomatic. You didn't call the person out. You really tied it to your business goals, which are sales and funnel and making sure what is working, and an email subscriber list should be treated this way. Like, I'm getting goosebumps because it was so awesome. So, but it really was done in such a good way. So anybody who hasn't done something could take something that they see, they like or dislike, simply do a review about what they feel. You don't have to be, this like drilled down analytical person. You can simply share your thoughts, opinions, and feelings. And so that video, Mike, not only was content for your business, you got massive support from the community, a mutual friend that was like, hallelujah, thank you. Because that's always tricky, right? When it gets into how do you talk about those things that I don't want to complain, I don't want to whine, but this person should be called out. So if you're not sure, find something and share it, right? It's kind of like going to see a movie you like. It's really easy to express why somebody should or shouldn't go see a movie because of what it made you feel. That's where I would start. Find something that resonates with you, that will serve your audience, and share your thoughts on it.
That's awesome. That's great, man. I like that a lot. And kind of, I think we're about to get onto it. There's also practical guides in this very book, right? On the actual checklists. Is that what they're called? The checklists?
Content type checklist, right?
So that's kind of, that would be the second half to that equation. And if you genuinely think, look, I'm kind of still struggling with the idea, there are checklists here that you just go through, and your job is to just kind of check them off. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Not everything has to be this incredibly creative piece. And we've talked about this before. Templates and structure, they actually give you more freedom to create a lot of stuff. There's a huge amount of process to this.
Yeah. So we included this, and they're guides, right? And Jodi and I were just saying the other day, how easy it is to look back and go, oh, I didn't include any links in my post to something external, or I didn't do an internal link, or, oh, that wasn't enough words, or did I include relevant tags and stuff? So it is really easy to miss this stuff. So I think in this case, we wanted people to think differently, and along with that, if you get the planner, like I said, we're going to be creating content supporting the planner. We've got a masterclass we're doing. Did you want to add anything on this, Jodi?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, even for those of us that produce content all the time, and in theory, we know this stuff. I mean, we wrote these lists. I still put checklists just like this for myself in Asana, and every time I, even if it's something I'm doing on behalf of a client, after I create the post for their podcast, I go down the checklist in Asana because 9 times out of 10 I skipped something. So, I mean, I think all of us should sort of have some experiences.
My blog posts are checklists. They're essentially a set of custom fields that I have to fill out before it'll let me publish it. Because I'm like, do you know what? I never would have. I constantly forget to accredit images, and I constantly forget to add an external link. 2 years I've been publishing content on a daily, a weekly, almost daily basis, and so it's not a measure of skill. It's not a measure of how good you are, how long you've been doing it. This is how regular people get a lot of content created, and optimize it to its best possible outcome.
Yeah, there's just something about content where I think people think it's all just supposed to come out of their heads, and it's supposed to work.
Yeah. It takes, what is it? It's kind of like it takes a lot of work to make it look that casual.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe we don't have to share the screen anymore, but you guys have got a PDF version available if
can I just share?
Please do. Go for it.
The last thing I wanted to show people is our stats page. And I like to scroll and make people dizzy, so close your eyes. Hold on.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, so the monthly statistics. And this was super helpful because we, Mike, after the call that we did, and Jodi and I went back and forth on layout and stuff, and I won't drill down to all of this, right? And because there comes a point too where you can crowdsource and never accomplish anything, crowdsource ideas and opinions. But we did make sure to include, we've got blank boxes down here too. We look at this, that the left-hand side is sort of the dollars, the right-hand side is traffic. So you can look at it that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
We have had some requests for weekly stats. We're still trying to sort what that would look like. And then we do have quarterly statistics too, where you can pull the quarterly statistics, look at everything. And it's really the broad, did I hit my goals? Did this support, what we're doing? So, and then just the last piece, we've got plenty of the dot grid pages for notes. And we've got some prompts here that you can decide what works for you.
Yeah, man, honestly, it's like going through it. I'm like, I mean, we went through the PDF, and I remember talking to you and I was thinking, all right, what about, I was trying to kind of catch you out. I was like, going to it's like, all right, you got that. What about stats? And you were like, oh yeah, we've got that. That's here. And I'm like, all right, well, what about your monthly goals? Oh yeah, that's up here. I'm like, like getting frustrated because it genuinely is. It's the journey it's making that tie between your overall strategy and actually physically what do you have to do every day and get it done.
Well, and hopefully people will see that even though this came together quickly, this has been a culmination. Like Jodi's been doing this 25 years. I think I'm hitting 11 years in March. And so this is not something that we've watched people do or talk about and decide, hey, let's sell to a market, right?
Yeah.
This, like, people keep saying, I can't wait to use a planner. I'm like, me too. Like, because I have printed it, right? But I'm like, I want it too.
Well, and we also did a lot of research. I mean, we looked at tons and tons of planners that are for, other niches or just general life planners. And, we tried to incorporate the features that we liked best from those. Like, so we're using quality paper, really nice cover, the elastic band. We didn't make it 8.5 by 11. We made it a little bit smaller. So you're not carrying this giant notebook around. And there's something else I was going to say. It's gone.
Yeah, and it's.
I know what it was. So it's a 90-day planner, and we talked about why we did that, but also, I mean, if this were a full year planner, it would be 400 pages, and nobody's going to carry that around with them.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge fan of it. We've gone through it. Like, just kind of to wrap it up. Then you have got, if people share and tag.
Yes. So you guys, we've been playing around with this. This is our first Kickstarter. This has been an interesting journey. We're trying new things like every single day. And, so one of the things we could really use your support, obviously, in backing the Kickstarter, but by sharing it, right? So we've decided if you share the Kickstarter socially, it will automatically pull up a social sharing image. So you're good there, but tag us in whatever you share socially. And I would say tag us personally, both of us. At Kim Doyal, all one word, at Jodi Hersh, I think is most of your social, Jodi, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So just make sure to tag us, and then we will message you with a copy of the PDF. So, and what we'll do is we've got the spreads and a single pages, because we're not ever going to use the PDF like as a lead magnet, really. Yeah. We feel firmly on that. And some people are choosing, you can also back the Kickstarter with just simply by getting the PDF if you want, or just a contribution. But in exchange for helping us promote it as well, we'd love to give you the PDF.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's really cool. So yeah, what I'll do then, the link to the Kickstarter is down below. I'm also, guys, going to put a link to the Facebook group, the Content Creators Facebook group as well. I'll make sure that that's down there. And if anyone does share it, make sure to tag Kim and Jodi in it to get the free PDF. In all honesty, the hierarchy of understanding how a 90-day content strategy works, it's a useful exercise to go through anyway, because a lot of people don't plan it that far ahead. I've found it incredibly beneficial to go through it. And like I said, we're now bulk creating content, and it helps us get a huge amount of stuff out of the way. And my content creators are very, very grateful for, being able to see what it is that I've got, like, my longer term vision for. Anything else you guys want to kind of finish up with?
No, just Mike, thank you. This was awesome. And you guys, everybody, thank you for just ahead of time supporting, sharing, anything you can do. This has been a fast and furious adventure that we are committed to long-term. So it's not going anywhere. We've got big plans even for complimentary products next year.
Excellent. Well, no, thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate, taking the time out to share the project with us. And I will, see you guys around in the group.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. And